I just put a bid in for 13 fucking slot cars. But this video is not about fucking slot cars. This is about the news, and I'm always telling y'all, don't fucking watch it. Well, check this out. Got something for you.
On top of everybody for being able to spot a psyop. Number one is analyze the source. Is the outlet known for credible reporting, or do they thrive in like sensationalism? So established outlets like Reuters, sometimes Wall Street Journal, they report facts first, and others are way into drama. And PSYOPs, psychological operations, extremely, very much rely on sensational headlines. If you see sensational headlines, you need to get the hell out. This is on all media, on both sides of the aisle. There is no aisle if you hadn't got that figured out already. So next is who owns that platform that you're looking at. So media ties with pharmaceutical companies, political entities, defense contractors. I dare you to look that one up tonight. And so step two, question the timing. So you want to ask yourself, does the story that I'm looking at right now appear during a major crisis or scandal or upcoming election maybe? PSYOPs will very often distract from bigger issues like UFO footage released during major policy debates or global unrest. Huge red flag. Next is to follow the narrative. And I promise you don't have to go do 5 hours of research to do it. You just ask yourself, are multiple outlets, this one question right here, are multiple outlets parroting the exact same language? If you see that shit going down, you need to be very terrified that something's going into your brain that doesn't belong there. So PSYOPs use coordinated messaging to reinforce a narrative. So look for phrases that feel copy and pasted, like unprecedented threat or undeniable evidence. Those little phrases, you're going to hear them. You will start to hear these everywhere you look. And the moment you hear copy paste phrases, that is a PSYOP. So step four, look for emotional triggers. So all PSYOPs thrive on pushing your buttons. Think about the FATE model, if you know what that is. Focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. So this is fear, anger, amazement. So if a story feels like it's designed, and I say the word designed with bold, underline, italics, if a story feels like it's designed to make you react emotionally, get out as fast, but don't even finish the story. Ask ChatGPT about what you're trying to figure out. So stories about UFOs that emphasize unknown threats without any evidence, you should be pretty careful about that. And then just check the evidence. You ask yourself the question, are they providing evidence like document data, eyewitness accounts, or relying on anonymous sources and some vague claims? So if you ever hear the words, and I want you to burn these words into your head. I've never told anyone in my life how to expose a PSYOP. But if you do all of these at once, you will never be manipulated. This one question. With that stuff going on, I need to ask, is this going to expand government control or justify new laws? That one question. Will what I'm saying expand government control or justify new laws? Okay. Analyze coverage patterns. So PSYOPs all the time dominate the news cycle and they drown out other stories. Real news coexists with other reports. Let me say that again. Real news coexists with other reports about stuff that's going on. If one topic is everywhere, while major global events get completely ignored, you're in the middle of a PSYOP. Next is look for follow-ups. This is it. Real news evolves with new updates. Real news evolves with new updates. PSYOPs fade once they've served their purpose. I'll say that one more time if you're taking notes. PSYOPs will fade away when they have served their purpose. So as an example, if you see some inflated, sensational story that just vanishes after a week with no follow-up, that is called a distraction. It's called a distraction. So finally is trust your gut. Does it feel scripted? Sometimes things feel just off, and I want you to trust your instincts. Back them up with research if you want to. So what can you do? Like, what the hell can you do about all this? The most important thing that I could give you, and I had no idea that I was going to really be talking about any of this, but the most important thing is cultivate critical thinking skills. Learn to spot the propaganda. Go back through what I just talked about, the recording. Chris is going to make this recording available to everyone. I don't know how or where. We'll make it available to everybody here. I don't care if you're an NCII plus or whatever. Look for patterns in how the media or the government communicates about things, maybe UFOs. Do they spot, or do they focus on fear? Or are they offering solutions that involve giving up freedom or increasing government power? So try to diversify all the places that you're getting news from. Try to block every single news provider that you can possibly think of and use AI to get your news. And tell AI to be concise and apolitical in its answer. It's the best way to do it. So I want you to memorize these 3 questions if you're taking notes. Number 1, who benefits from this narrative? Number 2, what evidence is being shown and is it verifiable? Number 3, why now? Why is it happening right now? Next is strengthen your psychological state. Recognize these fear tactics. Fear is the number 1 easiest way to control human beings. Governments use all kinds of stuff as a way to unite people under a single narrative. So stay calm. Question why you're being told to be afraid. Question why you're being told to be afraid. And this sounds like some bullshit trope you might see on some yoga instructor video, but mindfulness is one of the most powerful practices that you could start to adopt today. There's a million videos on it on YouTube. I'm not going to go into how to do it today. It's one of the most powerful things you can do just in general for your success in your life, but it's going to help insulate you from some of this stuff. So just a few other ones. Stay connected to your community, not your online community. Get to know who your neighbors are. Get to know your neighbors. Walk across the street, know everybody that lives around you. Go introduce yourself if you haven't already. Your neighbors might be more important than you realize here if something goes down. Build self-reliance as much as you possibly can. Stay grounded in reality. Always remind yourself that there's a lot of stuff going on, and through all the shit we've been through as a species, as a country, as a globe, things usually just turn out okay in the end. It's not that big of a deal. And finally, just get your mindset protected. The more people panic, the more easily governments can sweeping control the nation. So practice a little bit of skepticism and help other people to stay calm. That's your job. If you remember, you are the one studying authority and confidence and leadership. That's your job, to help people stay calm. So stay educated, but just balanced. So research topic, like if you want to learn about this stuff, go Google Project Bluebeam. It may keep you up all night, but you take a look at that. So fear-driven conspiracies can be just as manipulative as a government conspiracy. Finally, and I wasn't going to say this because it sounds weird, but if there's a power outage, you have zero money if you don't have cash. So you may want to keep some cash on hand if you can afford it. So always think of, like, when governments propose solutions, ask, do they actually address the issue? What freedoms or powers are being taken in exchange? And is the solution long-term or a convenient grab for power? So what if it is aliens? What the hell are we going to do? Let's entertain the wild card here. What if it's aliens? maybe we're finally ready to handle it, kind of. Maybe aliens showed up in the 50s or 60s. They were like, oh, these people have lost their minds, but maybe we're ready now. Maybe we've hit some critical point in history. We're at this weird crossroads with climate change. We're exploring Mars finally. Aliens are watching. Maybe they're coming. Maybe we're pinging the radar. We got all this tech and stuff like that, satellites out there. Maybe we just sent out some kind of we're here signal. And maybe they've always been here, but they've just been waiting. And now we're ready for level 2, whatever that means. But here's why the timing feels suspect. Even if, let's just say aliens are legit, there's some little gray dudes that are going to pop out of a ship or something. If they're legit, the timing feels very convenient. Why? Well, because governments love to frame everything in terms of fear and control. So if aliens are making contact, I want you to ask this, if you're entertaining this concept with me, wouldn't you expect them to be advanced enough to know how incompetent the governments are in this world? So the information would not flow through the government. So instead, all the info does come through the government. So it feels like there's a layer there. There's a layer. But if it's real, it's not just, oh, cool, there's some aliens. It's about what happens next and who decides how the narrative unfolds. If this was helpful or interesting, and I certainly hope that it was, if you're interested in diving deep into this training, I released the college level textbook of all of this information only a few weeks ago. It's this giant book right here, and this is the textbook of the most advanced tactics and methods in this arena, and it's called the Behavior Operations Manual. And there's a link in the description if you want to check out the textbook. So thanks for joining me. Stay safe and stay sane.